Hello, and thank you for stopping by yet another edition of the Massachusetts Whiskies program of YouTube. My name is Thomas Meadow 75, and this is your Massachusetts Whiskey Review. And this one is a very interesting bottle of whiskey I picked up recently this past weekend. The first weekend, it might have even been on Thursday, the 5th, I believe, of September 2024. That sounds about right. When I saw it at the liquor store with the beer man himself live in Rhode Island while we were there, I knew this was the opportune time to finally pick it up and try it. This is from Sons of Liberty Whiskey Company out of South Kingston, Rhode Island. And this is their collaboration, their whiskey with Narragansett Brewing Company. Awesome. And it says 45% alcohol by volume, and it is spirits distilled from grain and hops with natural flavor. And it says on the back of the bottle, distilled from Narragansett's Up or Down Ale. Aged over 5 years, this hop-forward spirit's bright citrus and floral notes are complemented by smooth vanilla and caramel flavors to give you a delicious and uniquely 401 tasting experience. They are on Instagram at Gansett Beer, and Sons of Liberty is on Instagram at Drink Soul. And this is a 375 milliliter bottle, by the way. It cost me a whopping $30, which is why I've never picked it up or did the initial pre-order back in 2023 for the bottle at the distillery. So yeah, it's typical to what the Sons of Liberty Whiskey Company does with their spirits that are not bourbon style. They mostly are doing distillation of whiskeys from beer recipes, and this one, again, there you are. This one here is distilled from Narragansett's Bancroft Up or Down Ale, which is I don't even know if they make that anymore, but that beer was a blonde ale that they brewed with Cascade and Chinook hops, which is kind of cool. So they aged this whiskey for or did it say for over 5 years? Yeah, it says for over 5 years. In new American oak barrels. They only made 900 of these. They made over 900 of these 375 milliliter bottles and never came in any bigger of a size. And the bottles were released and sold in Rhode Island liquor stores and at Sons of Liberty in 2023. Starting in 2023, yep. So we're going to go over the whiskey. We're going to taste it. We're going to give you the 6-point rating scale to round out 100 points for the rating. Looks and aesthetics, as always, and value get up to those 10 points each. And your aroma, taste, mouthfeel, and finishing categories get up to a maximum of 20 points. So let's pour the bottle into the Glencairn glass. I have shared this with the Beer Man, Bumpyisms, and East Coast Liquor Reviews on our recent Beer Man gathering in September 2024. And this is a synthetic cork. It's got lots of wax around it. Glencairn. I assume the best category to call this whiskey would obviously be a single malt, despite it being distilled from grain and hops. I will call it single malt. Comment in the section below if you know any better of what style this would be. All right. Let's talk about the looks and aesthetics. I really like the labeling that looks like a Narragansett beer label. It's got Sons of Liberty's icon up there, logo, and it tells you all that information on the back of the bottling. So that's pretty cool. The whiskey itself It's got a nice color to it. Almost a dark honey amber color. It's got nice legs even for 45% for that 90 proof. Nothing too crazy earth-shattering. I like the labeling. I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10. Let me write that down. Okay, so back to the whiskey. 7 out of 10 for looks and aesthetics. Let's get an aroma, shall we? Definitely picking up on some citrus floral notes for sure. A little bit of pine, I assume Chinook hops. Give me the pine there, yep. Orangey notes too. That's the citrus orange note. There's a little bit of a honey-like sweetness in there. Very fresh vibrancy from the hops, honestly. It's a little bit of a cereal grain Cheerio note. There's a touch of a sting to the 45% ABV. Not much. Cool. Looking forward to the review portion. Aromas out of 20. Nothing earth-shattering, honestly. You get those bright citrusy, piney notes and the cereal grain. That's about it. A little bit of funk and mustiness from the malty aspect of the whiskey. I'm going to give that a 16. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's very inviting. Let's see how the taste is. Cheers, everybody. First sip of alcohol for the day, so I will let that coat and envelop and go in for the real assessment. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Nice bright vibrancy from the Chinook and the Cascade. I'm really getting a nice citrus, orangey zest note to it. I'm getting the piney complexion in the taste there. I'm getting a honey-like sweetness as well. There's a bit of a nuttiness to the dram as well. Yeah, very citrus forward. Just a touch of alcohol, not a bunch. I'm getting that, is it like an almond, or there's some kind of a nuttiness to it, or peanutty or almondy, like a honey nut Cheerio, or like a, honey nut Cheerio, or like a honey bunches of oats kind of thing. A cereal grain taste. That's very nice. Better than the aroma. For sure, I like that honey-like sweetness in there. Granola note. Fresh baked bread. I'll give that a 17 out of 20 for the taste. Mouthfeel notes. It's a tiny touch creamy. Not much of that aspect in the mouthfeel. But I would say it's a tiny touch creamy. Ooh, there's a little bit of a toffee note too. Okay, so third time's the charm. Tiny touch creamy. There is some oily aspect to it. The top of the mouth is getting enveloped with the body of the whiskey. Medium bodied, not super full, but it's not thin at all. And it's making me salivate a little bit, or in a moderate amount. Not bad, honestly. Not the most complex mouthfeel or luxurious mouthfeel, but it's nice. I'll give that a... I'll give that a 16 out of 10 for the mouthfeel. Finishing notes. Definitely a toffee sweetness, too, with the honey. Yeah, nice pine. Fresh pine and citrus note as it dries. A little bit of a cooked sugary going in the caramel direction flavor to it in the finish and in the actual taste. And then it dries about now. So it's got it's trying to have a staying power here, definitely. It definitely has some nice hoppier, fresh pine citrus notes that are trying to linger around for a little bit. So that's nice. Yeah. I like to, I think I mentioned it to somebody the other day or last week when we were drinking on this. It's kind of like you throwing a rock in the finish is kind of like you throwing a rock in a pond and you watching the ripples go until they kind of die out and they get from like a louder volume to a softer volume. There's no real spikes. There's no real rough edges to the finish. It just kind of goes and then slowly fades away. No rough edges to that. I mean, not the most complex finish. I'll give that a 16, but it's really nice flavors. And here's where the whiskey suffers the most. Value. 375 milliliter bottle for $30. That means a $60 would have been the 375, I guess. I wanted to buy this and try this with folks. I will probably not buy that again unless somebody's really been looking for it and I found it. But value out of 10. Not bad flavors. Easy on the drinkability. And I would, for certain reasonings, buy it again. Again, if somebody wanted to try the whiskey and they're really looking forward to it. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. There's no real good value to that. All right, so let's add up. Take one more sip. And add up the rating. Yeah, there is a little bit of a sharpness to alcohol. Just a little bit initially. Toffee, coffee, vanilla. Toffee, coffee, vanilla. Definitely honey sweetness. Yeah, that's good. All right. So looks and aesthetics get a 7 out of 10. Aroma gets a 16 out of 10 out of 20. 17 out of 20 for the taste. 16 for the mouthfeel out of 20. The finish will get a 16 out of 20. And the value gets a 4 out of 10. For a 76 out of 100 for the Sons of Liberty in collaboration with Narragansett Whiskey. If you've had this bottle for some crazy reasoning, let me know. Or let me know if you've had any whiskeys in general that have been distilled from beer recipes. Or if you've had Sons of Liberty whiskeys. Very cool to try that. Probably, again, like I say, to conclude, I most likely will not be buying this again at its $30 price point if I ever see it again. But it's certainly nice to try as both a craft beer fan in general, and as a whiskey enthusiast. So cheers, everybody, and until next time, keep tasting them great beers and whiskeys. We'll see you soon.